Hi guys, before we start, I just wanted to let you know that due to him wanting to focus more on his internships, the voice actor of 3 Crab Mob had to drop the role, so we have a new voice actor taking his place. So if he sounds weird, that's why. But I hope you guys enjoy the new guy just as much as you did the old one. And with all that out of the way, let's begin. Eiji Tsubaraya. Through his work, he has left a mighty legacy in the world of kaiju. But when it comes to these two titans, they are undoubtedly the most famous of his works. But who will win when the monster king he helped create meets the superhero of his own creation?
Godzilla, the king of the monsters.
And Ultraman, the intergalactic warrior of peace and justice. Now, for this fight, we'll not be giving either combatant any powers gained from outside sources, and while their original Japanese media will be the main basis for our research, we will be looking at every version of Godzilla and Shin Hayata that does not conflict with pre-existing information, and fits more within the original Japanese media. Which means no Monsterverse and no TriStar, though footage may be used from the former.
He's 1 Fish Mob and I'm 3 Crab Mob, and it's our job to see who would win a fatal conflict.
It was the height of the Second World War. Guns were firing, tanks were barreling, and millions of lives were lost. But when the year 1945 came around, everything changed. To gain victory, America unveiled its latest doomsday device, the atom bomb. Men, women, children, cities, even entire countrysides were evaporated in seconds. And as the radioactive fallout settled, the planet itself trembled, for the world finally entered the nuclear age. But with such destructive power came unintended consequences. The radiation generated by the bombs would eventually settle down into most remote parts of the planet, places that were long forgotten by time. And it was this radiation that woke something up.
Godzilla, the unrivaled king of the monsters. For nearly a century, this guy's been wrecking up entire cities in his path, proving himself to be humanity's greatest foe.
Not entirely. Godzilla isn't evil per se. He's more or less lashing out against humanity for the destruction caused by the atomic bombs both in and out of war.
Gosh, that means he's a hippie, isn't he?
In a sense? But Godzilla is definitely no peacekeeper in the traditional sense. While he'll happily lay waste to entire cities, he usually keeps to himself until he senses a much bigger threat that poses an equal danger to him as it does to everything else if it's not dealt with quickly. And when he does decide it's time to get his hands dirty, very few things can actually get in his way. Godzilla's strong enough to tear through most buildings with ease, matched the thunder god Thor himself in a reverse tug-of-war, and once lifted and threw Kaiser Ghidorah, who weighs around 100,000 metric tons. And while he's not exactly known for his speed, Godzilla is able to keep up with monsters capable of reaching Mach 5 speeds and swat people like the Human Torch out of the sky. For reference, the Human Torch can keep up with the Silver Surfer, who can cross entire galaxies in short time frames.
And Godzilla's not just strong, he's also one tough dude. He's completely immune to conventional weaponry, survived a man-made black hole, and casually survived a meteor hitting him at point-blank range without a scratch.
Actually, what hit Godzilla was no meteor. It was actually the runaway planet Goroth. And much like the movie it originally appeared in, it was stated to have the capability of destroying the entire planet if it struck. But Godzilla's most dangerous attribute is his radioactive body, which constantly gives off lethal amounts of radiation, up to the point even a casual stroll contaminates everything in his vicinity, from the rubble in his wake to even people near him.
Well, geez, that's depressing. But he isn't just a walking Chernobyl. He has plenty of ways to make sure the job is done. Godzilla is a proficient fighter, keeping up with far more powerful monsters and putting them in their place. He has basketball skills good enough to challenge Charles Barkley, he's good at dancing, and can even talk.
Something funny going on. You better check.
Man, the short air was weird.
Well, his intelligence does tend to vary, but generally he is depicted as a thinking creature, able to learn quickly in battle and work with other monsters when the situation calls for it. And though he relies on animal cunning and instinct in most instances, he has displayed some knowledge in martial arts, allowing him to perform moves most other monsters can't.
But when brains aren't good enough, Godzilla can always use his most iconic power. The atomic breath. With this, Godzilla fires a concentrated blast of pure, unrelenting irradiation from his mouth.
This attack can take the form of either superheated vapor or a beam of explosive power, but the atomic breath generally possesses great range, near unmatchable power, and pinpoint accuracy, making it not only accurate enough to hit targets in outer space, like the aforementioned Goroth, but kill, or at least disable, most monsters it hits with a single shot. He even has a few variations of this attack, such as one that can fire 3 rays at once, or the super atomic breath. But that's not the only power he has. He can absorb natural lightning and the life force of other monsters to increase his power, unleash a short-range nuclear pulse, or turn himself into a magnet. He even possesses a substance in his cells called Organizer G1, which allows him to heal from basically anything, including being reduced to a beating heart.
Oh, don't forget, he can even fly as well. He's a monster of land, sea, and air now.
But that is nothing compared to his most powerful attack, the Spiral Heat Ray. Burning at temperatures reaching 1 million degrees Celsius, its power is said to increase infinitely each time Godzilla uses it, making it perfect to blast through monsters or set entire surroundings on fire.
But if Godzilla absorbs enough radiation, the nuclear fission in his body goes out of control, transforming him into Burning Godzilla. With this new fiery look, Godzilla's already absurd power gains a massive increase, letting him tear through nearly anything with a raging fury very few others can match.
However, strength isn't the only thing that increases. When he enters this burning state, it means his heart is failing like a nuclear reactor would, causing his body temperature to increase so much it will not only kill him, but will kill the entire planet as well.
Not like that's gonna stop him from kicking monster ass. He's already defeated innumerable hordes of giant beasties of all shapes and sizes for over nearly a century, battled both the Fantastic Four and the Avengers, and actually saved the world on a few occasions, sometimes with a little help from a friend of his like Zone Fighter. Wait a minute, why does this guy look so familiar? Yeah, it's probably nothing.
And that's nothing compared to his greatest feat. After he had died in an exceptionally vicious battle, the god found himself trapped in hell, and he not only managed to fight his way through it, but basically conquered it, killing and even embracing many of its demonic horrors to once again return to the living world.
Damn, this guy might as well be immortal if not even hell itself can't stop him.
Well, to call him immortal is a bit of a stretch. Godzilla has a spotty win-to-lose ratio, having officially lost the fight to King Kong, Mothra, and even Charles Barkley. And despite being able to keep up with far faster monsters, Godzilla is pretty clumsy, and powerful enough weapons or monsters can kill him.
And if you don't have any fancy air-destroying bombs to stop him, just feed him Snickers. Then he will become the best friend you never had. But when he's not having a good time, partying or doing whatever, you better watch out. Because this giant monster's truly earned the god in his name.
What else can we say but long live the king? Far across the universe, tucked away within the nebula M78, there exists the Land of Light, home of the Ultras, beings of light who possess great power and a strong sense of compassion and justice. Together they fight to bring peace across the entire universe.
Using their mighty powers to defeat whatever evil monsters come crawling out of the woodworks, the Ultras have defended the universe for thousands of years. But being great defenders doesn't mean you're immune to making mistakes, like what one Ultra soldier did when he was chasing down the monster, Bemular.
And this accident would forever change the life of Shin Hayata. Originally an officer of the Science Patrol, he was on a scouting mission when the Ultra soldier in question accidentally crashed into him. Remorseful for what he did, the Ultra soldier saved Hayata by literally giving him his own life, merging their bodies and vowing to stay on Earth to protect it from future harm.
On this day, Shin Hataya was no longer a mere man. On this day, he became the building-sized superhero, Ultraman. Standing at a staggering 40 meters tall and weighing over 3,500 tons, Ultraman proved himself time and time again to be Earth's greatest defender, protecting it from all sorts of giant, terrifying, and sometimes just downright bizarre monsters and alien invaders alike.
But don't let his simple appearance fool you. Ultraman's a powerhouse. He's lifted and threw monsters just as big and bigger than himself, kicked a 120,000-ton Teleston into the air, and shattered alien Baltan's claw.
But he doesn't like to prolong a battle if it's unneeded, and he's more than fast enough to make sure the job is done. He's able to reach Mach 5 speeds when he's within the atmosphere, fly from the Earth's surface to space in seconds, and dodge most beam attacks with relative ease.
He's even tough enough to ignore attacks that can destroy buildings in a single shot, can shrug off beams of radioactive energy and extreme heat, and once took a nuclear blast powerful enough to have turned the plains of Kanto to ash. And he not only survived it, but also came back in his human form smiling.
But don't forget, Ultraman's not just another mindless monster trampling Tokyo. His people are skilled warriors, practicing in fighting styles reminiscent of judo. Ultraman's fighting experience mostly focuses on punches, kicks, grappling, leg locks, and throws. He can even keep up with other Ultramen and fight multiple monsters off at once.
Well, as Ultraman does prefer crippling his enemies when fighting, this could stem from the fact he often uses his opponent's own power against them.
Yep, this guy will literally tear you limb from limb if he deems necessary. Like poor old Jurass over here. Wait a minute, why does he look so familiar? Probably nothing.
He can ram enemies with air body, crack heads open with Ultra Headbutt, or deliver a lethal blow with Ultra Chop. But Ultraman doesn't just go in with fists and kicks alone. His very skin acts like armor that protects him from most forms of attack, including chemical. And with his telekinetic powers, he can control light particles for various different purposes.
Mostly for kicking giant monster ass. He can create giant buzzsaws to throw at enemies, fire streams of arrow-shaped rays from his hand, fire beams of light from his eyes to render invisible opponents visible, trap foes with energy rings, or summon barriers to deflect any attack thrown at him.
But none of these powers are as strong as his trademarked Specium Ray. By posing his arms, Ultraman can fire a powerful beam of light that can destroy most monsters in a single hit, though some armored monsters have shown resistance to it.
Not like that's gonna matter for most monsters he meets. He's defeated hundreds of hideous monsters over his years as Earth's protector, teamed up with other Ultramen to tackle even bigger threats, helped defeat Ultraman Belial and his monster army, and is even at the epicenter of a dying planet, and still came back to beat up more monster baddies. Dear gosh, Ultraman seems to be unstoppable.
Unstoppable is really stretching it. You see, all Ultramen get their power from sunlight, similar to Superman. Because the planet naturally filters out most of the sunlight that hits it, Ultraman can only stay on it for about 3 minutes before needing to leave it to recharge. And that's not mentioning how his Ultra armor has a shoddy history with protecting him from blades and teeth, and how he's sometimes reliant on allies to win fights.
But Hayat has proven himself to be more than just another soldier. He truly is a defender of the universe. So to all those who dare to try and drown the world in darkness, beware, because Ultraman will always be there to send you into the light.
Alright, the combatants are set. This battle shall have no prep time, no outside help, or home field advantage.
It's time to see who would win a fatal conflict.
Fight! Fatality.
Wait a minute, I don't think this is how the original episode went. What happened?
Both were certainly powerful fighters, displaying similar levels of strength and speed in their many battles. However, Ultraman held just enough of the edge to take this fight.
While Godzilla's healing is impressive, it could hardly compare to the durability Ultraman has. While yes, both were caught in world-ending explosions, there is a big difference. Godzilla perished while Ultraman lived on.
Not to mention, Ultraman's smaller, more agile form allowed him to dodge and avoid most attacks a lot better than the cumbersome Godzilla could. And that's ignoring how he's shrugged off similar attacks in the past. And there's nothing that says he could use similar strategies he's used against similar opponents against Godzilla.
But wait, what about Ultraman's power source? Can't Godzilla just outlast him?
Godzilla's nuclear power may not be finite like Ultraman's solar energy was, but there was a difference between the two that kept this from being an easily exploited weakness. Ultraman is a master martial artist with skills proven time and time again. He was more than capable of holding his own against an opponent like Godzilla, while Godzilla was only shown to be proficient in a similar style. And while the atomic breath may be one of the deadliest weapons in fictional history, Ultraman's powers have proven to be more than capable of controlling the battle a lot better.
He could hold Godzilla in place to halt his assault, and even deflect Godzilla's atomic breath itself. And sure, burning Godzilla may greatly boost Godzilla's power level, it can still hardly compare to Ultraman's. Heck, going burning is a guaranteed death sentence for the King of Monsters.
And while Godzilla would vaporize the planet with him, Ultraman already survived something similar. In the end, no matter how you put it, the King of the Monsters could certainly hold his own, but Ultraman just had the agility, durability, skill, prior experience, and the needed powers to take the win.
I guess you could say Godzilla's chances of victory just went up in flames.
The winner is Ultraman. Next time on Fan War. Hi guys, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button for future content. And if you want to support the channel, please consider checking out my Patreon and PayPal. Links are in the description below. And until next time, I will see you guys later.